Hello. When you hop on, say hi. As usual, I'm early. I had that bag I showed you on Wednesday. I'm going to show you how I made it. And then I have some cards to do. And then they fit inside the bag. Hi, Linda. Welcome. Hi, Rosie. Welcome. I give it a couple minutes yet, and then we'll get started. Got my foot tangled in my cords here. I got to figure something out. Too many cords at the bottom of my feet. It's my telephone cord. Hi, Sue. I'm glad you got it figured out, Sue. Welcome. All right, 8 o'clock. We're gonna get started. I'm putting the camera down. All right, just a quick reminder: today's the last day to take advantage of the free shipping of $75 or more, and that is before you add the tax. Okay, and you have until 11:30 Mountain Time, I think it is. So it would be what, 1:30 our time, but don't quote me on that. But I think that's how that works. Okay. On Wednesday, I showed you this bag, and I'm going to show you how to put it together. And I have cards to make for you to go with it. So what you will need, got the paper. The paper I'm using is Gathering Together. Together. It was on the last chance list. I'm not sure if it's still available. I didn't check before I got on tonight. But I had gotten 2 packs of it and I'm trying to use it up. So we're going to be making this bag and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm using this paper here. And the back side is that right there. It has gold in it. But we're going to use this side. I'm taking Early Espresso. And this is 8x4. And you're going to score that at 1 inch on all 4 sides. Okay? And then you're going to set that, that's all we got to score. So let me move my you will need 4 strips that are 1 inch by 11, and you need 2 that are 3/4 by 11. Okay. The 4 here is actually for the bottom and the top, but I had to cut some off because they're a little longer. So I'm gonna do the same thing that I did. I'm just gonna cut it off when I get to that part. For the box, you're gonna take and score your lines. Like so. And then you're going to take the corners. You don't want this. And you're going to just miter them a little bit on both sides there. You're going to do that on all 4 corners. Up to that first score line. And the last one. Okay. Get rid of that. Now you want to put the tabs on the outside instead of on the inside. Then that way when you look in the bag, you don't see the tabs in there, okay? So I'm going to put liquid glue on the inside of the tabs so that I can put them on the outside sides. And you're just going to bring it up and hold that till it catches. And you do the same thing. You can make this bag as wide as you want. You can use your 12 by 12. You can use 2 sheets of it. It depends on how tall you want. Okay. I think that if you do the 12 by 12, I think one would be 12 inches long and the other one is like 7 inches because depending on what side the bottom of it is. Okay, so we got this glued. So we're going to set that aside for a second. Okay. Going to work on our designer paper. I'm using tear and tape. For one of the, these are, 6 by 10. 6 by 10. You need 2 of them. And what you're going to do is run your tear and tape on the one end of one of them. Okay. And then for this one, you're going to put tape on the 2 smaller sides and the bottom. So you're just going to, and tear and tape is easier to use. I'm sure you could use liquid glue. Hi, Shirley. Welcome. I can't see that. Put it on this side. Okay. So we got that. We are going to put this one down that has all 3 sides taped. We're going to put that down last. Going to work on this one. But before we do, you're going to take your tear and tape and you're going to run it along the top of the box. For that reason, I'm going to tell you, is when you put it here, it will catch your paper here so you don't have a gap, okay? So if you put it on the inside here, okay? Oh, this is the outside, I'm sorry. If you put it on the outside here and you put your paper on, it catches it and you don't have the gap inside. So you're just going to take this and walk it around your box. And then you're just going to tear it off when you get to the end here. And I'm just working my fingers around it because I'm going to take that off and then we're going to attach this. So I'm just going to pull that completely off. And then we're going to take this piece off. And then what you're going to do, you want to make sure your opening is on the inside. This is my bottom. So I am just going to take this and try to put it in the middle and at the very end. Like so. And I'm just going to run my finger there to catch the top and the bottom. So we have that. And it's a little over, but I ain't worried about it. It still sits. Okay. And then I'm going to take this and I'm just lining that up at the bottom and pushing my fingers down. And we're going to do this, and by golly, I think I had it almost in the middle. Better than I did my first one. So you have that. And it's like that. So you want to just make sure you push down where you have the tape on the bottom of the box. Okay? So that is how you put the first one on. Okay? So now we're going to do this one. And like I said, you might not really need the full 10 inches. But I left it go like that. I didn't figure it out to make it shorter. But we're going to take all the tear and tape off. Whoop. Oh, that did come off. I thought it tore. Okay. Then we're going to bring this here. And we are going to try to put it back in the middle again. And lay it on the bottom of the box. Like so. Turn it over and push it down on the inside. Then this is going to get over like so, matching up the bottom, and just slide your finger up to adhere it there. And then you're going to do the same thing over here. This worked better than my one I did. And you're just going to run your finger up and it matches. And you're just going to rub it down here. And there's your box, your bag. Okay. This is the back of the box. Just so I always have put the seams in the back. So now we're going to work on our 4 1-inch. That's going to go at the top and the bottom. And I'm putting tear and tape on here. You wouldn't have to. You could do glue. In fact, I'm going to do tear and tape at the bottom. I'm going to use glue up here and just put it around. I'll just have to hold it, but it gives me wiggle room. And what I'm going to do here is I can see where my inner layer, the first layer, I am going to just start there and go around, okay? And see, it goes past that. So what I'm going to do is just line it up here, and I'm going to cut that much off. So it's actually 10 1/4. Yeah. Because this is going to overlap when you do it again. So I'm going to put glue on here and we'll see how that works. I'm putting a good bit on, making sure, especially on the ends. And like I said, the inner one's right here. And my back is back here, so that's where it's going to get wrapped around. So I am just going to follow this around, matching the top. And when you use liquid glue, it'll help you line it up without getting any creases in where I have in my other one. And then see that stops where this is on the inside. And I'm just going to go around and just make sure it's down. Okay. Then we're going to do the back, which I will start where this is here. And I'm going to work around to there. And if I have to cut, I'll cut it off when I get down there. That way I'll be sure I have enough. Okay. So I'm going to start where this seam is where I'm going to start. The seam's right here. So I'm going to hold this down to make sure it catches. This probably will be the longest of my video tonight, making this bag. And to be honest with you, they're not very hard to make. Okay, see now that ends right here. So I'm going to cut this off. Let me get this scissors. I'm going to cut that part off so that the seams match up. So I actually cut about 3/4 of an inch off of each of them. So you would only need, what, 10 1/4 to go around. Just making sure it's down. Okay, the reason why I did that, if you look at mine right here, it was a wrinkle here because it buckled. That's why I use liquid glue. It makes it easier. Okay, next is the bottom. Whoops, wrong ones. And that's going to be the same thing, but I'm not cutting any off because this is squared. But I'm going to do the same thing. I am going to lay this on here because my paper stopped there, and it's going to go around. But like so. And see that much I need to tear off. So I'm going to just cut about like that. I'm going to just use glue. You can, like I said, you can use tear and tape. I work better with the glue. Okay, so we're going to start here and lay that at the bottom. Gonna hold that there for a second. And then I'm gonna bring this over. I'll lay it down on the bottom. And then bring this over. And I can trim that just a hair. Let me just open it up here. There you go. Okay. So now I'm just gonna take my fingers down in the bottom here and just rub it along the box on the inside to get that down. Okay. So far this is the front. So now we're going to do this the same way. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stomp a little bit down here so I don't get the glue all the way down. And we are going to start overlapping right here because this is my back. So we're just going to line that up like so. And then I'm going to lay it down and bring it over. And just lay it on the bottom there. And I'm going to bring this over. And see, you have that much left. So we're gonna lay that down. Perfect, Deb, perfect. I add a little glue at the bottom because I didn't have it the whole way across. And then I am going to do the same thing. Run my fingers along the bottom. And there you have the bag. The handles, very simple. I took my bone folder, and this is 3/4 by 11, and I just went like that, not real hard, just to bend it a little. I'm taking a 1/8 inch punch, and I'm using some retired brads. These were the square and the round, black and white. And I'm taking 4 white ones out. You know, if you wanted brown, you could take either our Stampin' Blends or Sharpies and make them brown. Then you're going to put them like so on here, and you're going to just put them right there on the edge of the brown. Okay, but what I did was I put a little glue here to hold them in place. And it's going to go like this. You're going to put them down, and you're just going to hold them for a second because you're going to put a brad in there. You're going to take your punch, and trust me, I don't get them in the center. I try. Well, that one wasn't too bad, but it's not quite in the center. And then this one. And then I'm going to take the brad a while. Since the glue is still wet, this will help it get in place here. I'm going to put this one on. Look, it's 22 after already. And I have cards yet to make for you. Okay, so then you're going to do the same thing, but you want to make sure you line it up to be even to the front. Okay, and I think that's pretty good there, right there. It looks about even. So we're going to put a little glue. And we're going to do this again. Make sure they're even. Looks good. I'm going to hold it in place. And then we're going to punch the hole. And put our brads in. I'm making 4 cards, but I actually have 5 made. And I'm even going to do envelopes for you guys. That's something I don't normally do. Okay, there's your bag. Now, you can make a tag to hang on here. But yeah, if you want it to go like this, then you would want to square your corners. And then you would have more of a square. Okay, but all right, let me put this aside. That's the bag. This is the front. You can even decorate the front too. You could put something on there. Okay, here we go. First on, I'm using with you in mind. I'm using happy birthday, thank you, and thinking of you. And this one little leaf on the one that I did. And I'm using the modern label punch on 1 or 2 of them. And then I just cut cardstock to make the verbiage. But this is the first card I'm going to show you. Very simple card. And then I decorated the envelope with the same paper. And you could do the front too if you want. Thanks, Rosie. Okay. So I'm using Early Espresso 5.5 by 8.5, and we're going to score that at 4 1/4. I didn't score this one ahead of time. You'll need 2 pieces. I only did 1. I'll have to cut another one. You'll need 2 pieces that are 4 1/4 by 5. One for the inside and one for the outside. So let me get my paper here and we'll cut one. Four by 5 1/4. Okay. All right. It's going to go this way. And this is for the envelope. This piece is 5 1/4 by 2. That's going to go up at the top, end to end. Okay. This piece is a 1/2 inch. Oh, no, that's the inside. 1/4 inch by 5 1/4. That's going to go right underneath there. And then we're going to stamp thinking of you. So let's glue. Start gluing it together. Up top end to end. And then this, we want the Cajun Craze. And now we get butted right up against that part. And then we need Thinking of You. I should have left these on. They need clean. They don't feel too sticky. And we need Thinking of You. Early Espresso. And we're going to put that right down there. Close this up so we don't get our fingers in that. We can put that on the front. Like so. And then for the inside, we're going to take our, I think I did the orange, or no, I did the flowers, or the leaves. And that's going to go right down here, 1/2 by 5 1/4. And then it's going to go on the inside. Like so. Okay, that would be the first card. And then to make your envelope. This is a piece of extra paper I had left over when I did all this. And it roughly is about 2 3/4, and you need it the width of your envelope. And this is a 6 1/2. But we're going to lay this here. So I'm just going to put some glue on my envelope flap. And I'm going to lay this down. I normally don't do envelopes. I don't know why. They're very easy to decorate. You can stamp the front of it. You can put paper on it. And then you're going to cut around your envelope flap. Like so. And then you have your envelope for your card. You could have used the back side. Okay. Card number 1. Now you could put bling on here, but I just I didn't do any bling on some of the cards. So that would be 2 that's going to go in. I have 3 more to show you. And these I don't have made up. These I just cut the paper and figured I'd do it as I go. And my envelope, I'm going to decorate that a while. What I'm going to do is just put my glue on the envelope. Flap. Put the paper. I'm going to use the green instead of the brown. That looks crooked. Okay, we're going to cut this all out. Stampin' Up! Used to make canvas. They used to sell canvas. And my sister Linda and I made a bigger bag out of the canvas. It got really nice. Okay, there's our envelope ready to go. I'm using basic white, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. I didn't score this one either. Then I took a piece of the Designer Series paper. This piece is 4 by 3.25. I'm going to lay that up here. Then I took the same one, and this is 2 by 4.25. I'm going to use the brown. Okay. Then I took a piece of the Designer Series paper. I'm using the Cajun Craze side. I'm going to lay that on top there. So wow. Before I go any further, I'm going to put this on here. And then this one down here. I guess the Olympics will be over Sunday, huh? And then this just gets laid on top, the two pieces. Actually, to hide the seam. And that's a 1/2 inch by 4. Went ahead and stamped "Thank You" out of the modern label, oval. And then I went and cut some of the leaves off of the Designer Series paper. And we're going to kind of wrap them around here somehow. Maybe like so. I'm going to pop this up. And we're going to lay that. I'm going to put that in the middle since we're going to add leaves. We're going to put one up there. So I'm going to put a little glue on the bottom here. And we're going to lay that at the top. And then these two, I'm going to put them over to the side like. So we're just going to put some glue there. And, oh, wrong way. Wrong side. Let me wipe that off. I want this side. I'll be all right, guys. I just put the glue on the wrong one. I'm going to lay that right there. That would be card number 2. And then, like I said, you could add bling to it. And then on the inside, oh, I didn't do the paper. I thought I did. Well, anyway, I would put a piece of DSP in there. Okay. There's card number 2. The next one, another simple one. They're all simple to me. 8.5 by 5.5. And you're going to score that at 4.25. This is actually Designer Series paper. Okay. This is the back side. I'm using this 4 by 5.25 as my first mat. This would be 3 3/3 by 5. That will be my top mat. Okay. Then I cut a strip for the inside. This goes on the outside like so. This is a piece of that paper. Okay, and that is 4 by 1 3/4. So this would be 3 3/4 by 1 1/2. And I wrote thank you, and I took that little leaf out of that stamp set and did just tap, tap, tap. I mean, stamp, 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 same ink. Did not re-ink it. Okay. So let's put this in here before I lose it. I'm going to put the brown in there. I got glue from rubbing my fingers. Okay. Then we're going to glue these two together. And then we're going to glue that to the front. Like so. And then we'll glue these two together. Oops. Like so. And we're gonna pop this up. And that's going to go in the middle of the card, and it's going to be the same as the brown, so you want to line the edges up. Okay, that is that card. Envelope, I think I'm going to keep this side instead of the brown. So lay that down. Like so, and we're going to trim that. I don't know why I don't do envelopes when I make cards. I really don't. I mean, they look so much nicer. Okay, so then there's this card. And the last one. I bought some of the twine that's retired. And I'm using this the same as the bag. This is the card that's going to be the same as the bag. So, okay. Crushed curry, 8.5 by 11. Scored at 4 1/4. And this one I did score. Basic white. And you need 2 of them. One for inside, one for the out. 4 by 5 1/4. 3 3/4 by 5. That will get laid on here, just like so. And then you have this. Let me just make sure. Yep, that's all it is. Nothing fancy. Oh no, I know what I was going to do. That's what the twine's there for. So we'll put this on. Then we're going to bring the twine in. And I want to put it this way. I'll wrap it this way. Okay. I'm going to get a piece of Scotch tape. And we're going to just put it on here to hold it. Then we're going to wrap this around. 3 times. And we'll wrap it again. Tape it again, and we'll cut. Okay. And then I am gonna try to overlap them without messing them up, except for the bottom one. Like so. This will go on top in the middle. Okay. Think that'll work. Let's bring the card in. Lay that down. Like so. And then we need dimensionals on here. Cut some more. Oh, there's a whole one there. We'll use that one in the middle. And we'll take this off. We'll lay this in the middle. Bring in our centerpiece with this is a 3/4 inch by 4. That will get laid here. This will go inside. I pulled the crushed curry out because there's yellow in this paper. Okay, now we're going to do the envelope. You really wouldn't need this great big piece. This is what I had left over. And instead of cutting a big piece, I just used what I had left after cutting for my cards. It's hard to see with the white on white. There you go. Okay, so we have that envelope. So this is my cards with the envelopes. And then this one's the same. Okay. And then we'll bring in the bag. And like I said, you could do it this way. You can stack the cards with the envelopes, however you want to do it. And they will fit inside here. Now this is 5 cards. Look how much space I have left. You can put other things in there besides the cards. Okay, you can make probably a good another 10 cards maybe, but let me see, you can put them down that way too. Yes, you got room that way. I would say probably another 10 cards would fit in there. Make a nice gift. All right guys, that's what I have for you tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be back on Monday. I don't know what I'm doing yet. If it'll be cards or 3D object. That's what Mondays and Fridays are. Either cards or a 3D project. And Wednesday's my scrapbooking night. So I'm not sure what Monday will bring, but it will be something. So I want to say thanks everybody for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. If you need these instructions, I actually got them off of YouTube. I have them written down in my book, but I couldn't find it when I wanted it, so I looked it up again. There's so many different sizes you can make with this type of bag. You can make them bigger, you can make them smaller. Like I said, we made one that was a really big. It was higher. We used the 12 by 12 paper. And you can make them any width that you want. You just have to adjust your bottom so that when you wrap it. So, all right. Thanks for joining me, guys. I appreciate you guys. And like I said, I will be back on Monday with I don't know what yet. I'll have to think about it over the weekend. If there's something you want to see, just let me know. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Rosie. You're welcome. But if there's anything special you want to see, let me know. If I can do it, I will do it. Yes, you're right, Linda. You're right. And I do have cards ready for a virtual card club. So when you come back in, we'll have to talk about that. Sound good? All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to let you go. I lay these out here so you can see them one more time. But like I said, you can get 10, 12 cards in those bags. So, all right. I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you for joining me. I will be back here Monday, 8 o'clock. If something would come up and I wouldn't be here, I will let you know. I will make a quick video for YouTube and I will post on Facebook. So, all right. I will see you back here Monday. Thank you.